Welcome to the top 12 C# interview questions for 2026. Whether you're a junior developer or preparing for senior roles, this video will help you ace your next C# interview. We'll cover 4 basic questions on types and OOP, 4 intermediate questions on LINQ and collections, and 4 advanced questions on async, threading, and memory. Let's start. Question 1. What is the difference between a value type and a reference type? Value types store the actual data directly on the stack. When you copy them, you get an independent copy. Examples include int, pool, struct, and enum. Reference types store a pointer on the stack, but the actual data lives on the heap. When you copy a reference type, both variables point to the same object. Classes, strings, arrays, and objects are all reference types. Here's an example showing the difference. When you copy an int, changing the copy doesn't affect the original. But when you copy a list, both variables share the same data. Question 2. What are the 4 pillars of object-oriented programming? First, encapsulation means bundling data and methods together while hiding internal details. Use private fields and public methods. Second, inheritance lets a child class inherit properties and methods from a parent class. Third, polymorphism allows the same method to behave differently in different classes. And fourth, abstraction means showing only the essential features and hiding complexity. Here are examples of all 4 pillars in C#. Question 3. When should you use a string versus a string builder in C#? Strings in C# are immutable. Every time you modify a string, the runtime creates a brand new object. Doing this in a loop is extremely wasteful. StringBuilder is mutable. It modifies the same buffer in place, making it much faster for many concatenations. The rule of thumb is, if you have more than 5 concatenations, use StringBuilder. Look at this code example. The slow version creates 1000 string objects. The fast version uses a single string builder. Question 4. When should you use an abstract class versus an interface? An abstract class can contain shared code, fields, and state. A class can only inherit from one abstract class. An interface contains only contracts, like method signatures, with no implementation. A class can implement multiple interfaces. Use an abstract class when you have shared implementation. Use an interface when classes share behavior but not code. Here are examples of both. Question 5. What is LINQ and why is it useful? LINQ stands for Language Integrated Query. It lets you query collections, databases, and XML using a unified syntax in C#. There are 2 styles. Method syntax uses chained methods like where and select. Query syntax looks like SQL. Both compile to the same code. LINQ uses lazy evaluation. The query doesn't run until you iterate or call to list. Here's an example of both styles. Question 6. What is the difference between IEnumerable and IQueryable? IEnumerable runs queries in memory. It loads all data first, then filters in your application. This is fine for small lists. IQueryable translates queries into SQL and runs them on the database. The filtering happens at the database level, which is much faster for large datasets. Always use IQueryable with Entity Framework. Look at this example to see the huge performance difference. Question 7. What is boxing and unboxing in C#? Boxing is the process of converting a value type to an object type, which causes a heap allocation. Unboxing is the reverse, extracting the value type back from the object. Both operations are expensive and create garbage collection pressure. Avoid boxing by using generics. The old array list causes boxing for every value type. The generic list of T does not. Here's the difference. Question 8. What is the difference between ref and out parameters? Ref requires the variable to be initialized before passing it. The method can raid and modify it. Out does not require initialization, but the method must assign a value before returning. Both pass by reference, not by value. Use out when you need to return multiple values. Use ref when you want to modify an existing variable. Here are examples. Question 9. How does async and await actually work in C#? The async keyword marks a method as asynchronous. It returns a task instead of executing immediately. The await keyword pauses execution without blocking the thread. The thread is freed to do other work, making your application more efficient. Behind the scenes, the compiler builds a state machine to track where to resume. Never call .result on an async method. It causes deadlocks. Question 10. What is the difference between task and thread? Thread is a low-level operating system thread. Creating one is expensive and uses system resources. Task is a higher-level abstraction that uses the thread pool. Threads are reused, so creating tasks is much cheaper. In modern C#, always prefer task over thread. Even better, use async and await. Here are the differences in code. Question 11. How does garbage collection work in .NET? The garbage collector uses 3 generations. Generation 0 holds new objects and is collected most often. Generation 1 holds objects that survived one collection. Generation 2 holds long-lived objects and is collected least often. This generational approach is very efficient. Large objects over 85 kilobytes go to the large object heap, which is collected with Generation 2. Use IDisposable for unmanaged resources. Question 12. What is the difference between delegates and events in C#? A delegate is a type-safe pointer to a method. You can invoke it directly from anywhere. An event is a special delegate that follows the publisher and subscriber pattern. Events restrict what subscribers can do. Subscribers can only use plus equals and minus equals. They cannot invoke the event from outside the class. This protects your publisher. Here's an example. Congratulations! You now know the top 12 C# interview questions covering basic, intermediate, and advanced topics. Practice these answers, build your own examples, and you'll be ready for any C# interview. If this helped you, please like and subscribe for more programming tutorials.